Hello and welcome to this afternoon's webinar. We have just a few more people joining. So just wait a minute for them to join. Whilst we wait, for those of you who haven't joined before, I'm Marie Cheng and I'm the Partnerships Manager here at My HR Toolkit. And obviously I'd like to welcome you all to today's webinar. If you've joined us before, you'll realise that we've been running a lot of different webinars on lots of different HR topics, topical webinars. And in January this year, we started doing a series of webinars aimed at some skills that might be really helpful for SMEs and the HR professional. So if you've joined us previously, you've probably seen the fact that we've done some webinars on engaging webinars themselves, social media, optimizing SEO, creating compelling content and the like that. For today, we're going to be looking at maximizing your LinkedIn platform. So obviously something that most of us are probably on, but not sure whether we're necessarily maximizing how to use it and get the best out of it. I know I don't, so it's really helpful for me as well. And I'm joined by our social media exec, Hannah Wheater, to give us her tips and tricks, and I'll let her introduce herself in a second. Just in terms of the format of the webinar, so Hannah will be spending about 25-30 minutes covering the main part of the content, and then at the end we'll have some time to answer any of your questions. There is a Q&A box at the bottom of your screens on the little toolbar, so please feel free to add any questions as we go along. There's also a Zoom chat, which you'll see that I've already added a message onto there. Do get involved in the chat if there's any interactive sessions, but if we could ask you to keep your questions in the Q&A box just so that we don't miss them as we go along, that would be great. A bit more housekeeping. Obviously today's session is offering some general advice, tips and best practice, and as normal, we will be advertising at the end of the webinar the link to the next webinar. So we're actually going to do a bit of a revisit some of the really useful ones that we've done at the start of the year. So we're going to be running the engaging webinars as an HR professional, and that's going to be the 12th of May. And what I will do is when the webinar has started, I'll put a link to the registration page for that one in the chat box so that you can get signed up to that if you missed the session at the beginning of the year. Right, so here to talk to us about maximizing your LinkedIn platform is Hannah. So over to Hannah, and I will, hopefully Hannah will be able to start sharing her screen.
Amazing, fantastic, thanks Marie. I'm Hannah and I shall introduce myself in a second. Marie, if you could just let me share my screen. It's giving me some tech issues. There we go. 1 second. Brilliant. Now you should all be able to see my screen. So thank you everyone for joining me this afternoon. Today I'm going to go through how to maximize your LinkedIn platform as a consultant. So I'm Hannah Wheater. I'm the social media and digital marketing executive at My HR Toolkit. I've had previous roles in the past doing social media consultancy, and a lot of my role is based on LinkedIn, maximizing LinkedIn for personal use as well as professional use for a company. So today we're going to go through how to maximize your LinkedIn platform as a consultant. So today's agenda will include a brief introduction to how to use LinkedIn and how it works, how to optimize your LinkedIn profile, how to grow your network, how to find clients, how to engage with your network and community. And at the end, like Marie mentioned, we've got a Q&A session. So do pop any of your questions as we go on in that Q&A section there. So just to start with, I'm really interested in seeing how you guys use your LinkedIn professionally or personally. So if you can all raise your hand if you have found an opportunity through using LinkedIn yourself. So if you can see on the bottom of your Zoom platform, it should have a Q&A and then there should be a raise hand option. So if you can all please press that just to see if you have found any opportunities through using LinkedIn before. And we'll just wait 1 or 2 minutes for that to come through. That's great. That's really interesting to see. I think a lot of us have found opportunities through LinkedIn, and it's a great place to have that balance between personal and professional development, networking virtually in person. You do find opportunities through LinkedIn, whether it's a job, whether it's a connection, a client. So it is massively becoming a part of our professional lives and the way that we are doing business. So let's rock on with today's session. So before we do start how to optimize your profile, how to find clients, how to engage your community. Just wanted to do a brief introduction to how LinkedIn works and how it's slightly different to any other social media platform. So we've got this diagram that LinkedIn actually created themselves way back when. So this is from their LinkedIn site. And it goes through the way that we see content on LinkedIn and how it works in terms of from a user's perspective. And this will tie into how profiles are optimized and the benefit of that and how to really use LinkedIn properly. So when you may have seen when you are on your LinkedIn, you will have a post, for an example, or someone else has got a post out. This is what LinkedIn calls a creator impact. So this line at the bottom displays a creator impact there. But what you will see regularly, if you've got a lot of connections on LinkedIn especially, is this viewer impact. So when Bonnie, for example, makes a post, Dylan, Bonnie's friend Dylan, will see that post in their newsfeed, and it will affect her network. Like any other social media platform, you'll be able to see that post on your newsfeed. But then what's really interesting with LinkedIn and how it's different is that this viewer impact section at the bottom, when our connections see a post, if they choose to interact with that post, it then creates this downstream impact that you can see on the screen. So for example, Bonnie's created a post, Dylan, Bonnie's connection, sees this post and Dylan chooses to engage with it, then Dylan's connections will see Bonnie's original post. If you are still with me, I know it can be a bit confusing, that's why I've got this diagram up, but then Ying will be able to see Dylan's comment, and it makes this really big snowball effect, is a great way of thinking of it. So if you are going to create a post and you get connections commenting on it, their connections will then see it. So it's a really great and powerful tool to use if you are wanting to increase your personal brand, your professional brand, you're trying to push your business's image out there. LinkedIn's a great platform to do so because we have got this snowball effect. And why I wanted to discuss this today is because this snowball effect and the way that LinkedIn recognizes accounts and the way that you're networking can really help grow this snowball that we've got going on with your LinkedIn platforms. So we'll move on to how to actually optimize your LinkedIn platform and your profile. So before I start this little section, it's really key to know that if you've got a very optimized LinkedIn profile, LinkedIn recognizes you as a really active account. And when you are stuck in this snowball, it's more likely to push your account out, the posts you're doing, the interactions you're doing on LinkedIn, if it recognizes you as an active profile, an active person on their platform. They give you a big thumbs up and say, yes, you're active, you're interactive with our platform, more likely to push you out to your connections and future connections because of that. So this is really key. Make sure you do the following steps. So today, I'm just going to cover 1 to 5 different points to make sure your LinkedIn platform is optimized and professional. And I've used my example for this, so you'll have to unfortunately see my ugly mug for the next few slides. So the first section is just your headshot. As simple, easy as it may be, headshot is a great way, first impression that people will find when they visit your LinkedIn profile. So just make sure it's up to date and there's some professional element to it. So a headshot normally includes a photo of your face and some shoulders in it. So try get an up-to-date photo, represents you sort of professionally. Try refrain from selfies if you can, but try get someone of your friend or family to get an update headshot of you and upload it to your LinkedIn. The second step to optimize your profile is to get an updated cover image. So my cover image is of my HR toolkit. It represents where I'm working and a bit about the brand and a description about it too. It gives a little bit of free branding as well to any company that you've got in your cover image. LinkedIn recognise having a cover image as a really key asset of recognising you as a accredited account or an active account. And it can also help you stand out and make you look quite professional as well. You can have on other platforms, on Facebook and Twitter header or cover photos that you might have of your friends or something, but with cover images on LinkedIn, try keep them a bit professional, and also, like I've done with mine, it's a free opportunity to push your brand a little bit, or your company. Your company may already have LinkedIn banners distributed with other members of staff, so check that out, and it is a great free tool just to push your brand a little bit further. And one tip with this, if you are wanting to upload a cover photo, is you can only update it on your desktop. So don't try and upload a new cover photo on your phone, because unfortunately it's a little bug from LinkedIn, it doesn't work. So definitely do that to optimize your profile. And then we've got your headline. So your headline is this description just below your name. You'll be able to see it on your profile, but what you might recognize when you're on your own LinkedIn newsfeed is that headline stays with your account throughout the whole time you're interacting on the platform. So if I made a post on LinkedIn, it would say Hannah Wheater, my name, and then under it, on every post or any account on LinkedIn, there'll be that small description there. So this is a really good way to push your brand if you are a consultant, and especially if you're trying to get recognized more, or if you're trying to make it really obvious of what you do or your function in a business. So do make sure you update that to your current position, or if you want to make a little headline that's quite witty and snappy, that was a good way to stand out too. So you update your headline to suit your professional job, your personality, industry, or your job role, and just make it short and snappy. You've got a certain amount of characters in that LinkedIn headline, so make it really snappy, and it can be really effective, and it can also help users understand more about you, especially from an initial impression. So mine is social media and digital marketing executive, my HR toolkit. If I was connecting with connections on LinkedIn that I've worked with in the past or in my current company, they might recognize me a bit easier. They might say, oh, my HR toolkit, we've worked with them, she's probably following up about something, or go on then, I'll connect with her. So it's a really great way to get your point across. And also, if you're connecting with a new person, they're more likely to recognize you from your experience, or just get a little bit more detail about you. And fourth, we've got your company and job description. So LinkedIn allows you to upload previous experiences, so you can highlight the companies you used to work at as well as your job role, and you can put in there the date from until you worked with that company. So this is really interesting and really key in order to get LinkedIn to recognize your account as active, and the more keywords you've got in here, the better. So one little tip that I will give you, an insider tip that recruiters do on LinkedIn, is you can actively search for keywords on LinkedIn if you're looking for a new candidate, or someone's looking for a new client, or so on and so forth. If you've got certain keywords in your profile, you're more likely to come up as a suggested connection, or someone that is recommended by LinkedIn for that person to connect with. So for example, with my job role, might have social media advertising. If they search those keywords, people with those keywords in their accounts are more likely to be recommended to that person searching. So that's really key if you are looking for someone to recruit, or you want to get a new job role, or if a client is organically trying to find a new HR consultant, business consultant in their location, then you are more likely to come up if you've got these keywords in your account. So update your experience section to any relevant information. You can even do just a short description, or like I've done, just a few bullet points that make people recognize what you do. And it's really great if you've got connections or people you've networked with, they're wanting to get in contact with you on a certain piece of information. So if someone wanted to do a social media post of me, they might say, oh, there's a social media girl, we'll get in contact with her because she's got that on her profile. So it's really great to get that across. And And the tip with this is just focus on the most recent and relevant positions. You don't have to go on and fill out every single piece of information since you finished your degree. Just keep it short and snappy and just fill out the information in the most relevant job roles. And then fifth and finally, for the optimizing your LinkedIn profile, is the skills and endorsement section. So you'll find the section right on the bottom of your LinkedIn profile. It'll be skills and endorsements just near the bottom. And skills and endorsements are a way for LinkedIn and for the wider connections on LinkedIn to understand your professional skill set by uploading different skills you recognise that you have. Other people will go onto your profile and they will endorse that skill if they find that you have that skill set necessary. So a lot of people will upload a bunch of skills that they believe they possess within current or previous roles, and they might nudge clients, colleagues, business partners, any business relationships to get on there. But if anyone is checking out your profile, I've had it a few times and someone just has a sneak peek at my profile and people just casually quite drop and endorse your skills on your profile too. So LinkedIn find this fantastic for their point of view when they recognise active accounts, because it shows LinkedIn that you're very credible. You've got people endorsing your skills, like getting personal reviews from a business on Trustpilot. It recognises that you've got some credibility to yourself and you've got existing connections on there. And for a client, a business partner, a colleague, maybe trying to find a new person to recruit, having these skills and endorsements on your profile gives you a lot of credibility too. And it's a really good conversation piece if you are wanting to check out an individual for a job or just to get connected with. It's really fantastic. So have a look at the skills you have listed on your profile. Sometimes LinkedIn put in skills that are automatically in there, so do check them out. You can also, as well, as you can see on my screen, this will add a new skill section here. You can add as many skills as you want, but my top tip is only list the most important skills or the most relevant skills and the skills that you want to get endorsed by from your connections. Just because if you've got, I think it's about 80 skills that you can upload as the maximum. If you've got 80 skills on there, some might be more or less relevant. And also, if I'm a connection going on your profile, I might not take the time to endorse all 80, but I will endorse the top few that come up. So check that out on your profile and also have a sneak peek on other people's profiles to see what skills and endorsements they have currently. So that was the run through of how to optimize your LinkedIn platform. Really do recommend that everyone optimizes their LinkedIn platform to get recognized by LinkedIn, to get their account pushed out more, and also to set that professional image initially when people look at your profile. So now I'm going to move on to how to actually grow your network on LinkedIn. And that's a really important part of LinkedIn and what LinkedIn loves profiles to do. So I'm going to touch on sending connection requests and joining groups. These are two main tips. If you're going to focus on any to grow your network on LinkedIn, it's just these two. So we've got to start with sending connection requests. So LinkedIn have many ways of pushing accounts out to you that they think you might be connected with or in person, or you've got similar topics or industries with them. So they're more likely to push these out to you. And you might find these pop up on your newsfeed, but the best way to find them are these two separate ways. So we've got firstly, My Network on the top of your LinkedIn. You should have the LinkedIn logo on the left, the search bar, and then these features at the top. So we've got Home, My Network, Jobs, Messaging, Notifications, and your profile. So if you click onto My Network and scroll down a little bit, you'll find loads of different fields that LinkedIn has for you. And in those fields, they'll have a load of connections that LinkedIn thinks from its algorithm that you will benefit from connecting with, or you have some sort of similar interest or common connection. So these different fields will include the location you're in. So I'm based in Sheffield. A lot of connections will come up from the Sheffield area. You have the university you went to, if you've got that in your field. I went to Sheffield Hallam, so you can, I get a lot of connection recommendations from other people similar age to me at Sheffield Hallam. You also have the industry you're in and just people that it believes you have common connections with. So check that out in just for curiosity's sake as well. It's really interesting to see what LinkedIn recognises your account as, or who LinkedIn are pushing accounts to for you. I've had a few people as well that have propped up and they're friends from way back when, and you do think how the heck have they been pushed out to me. So it's really interesting to have a look at. And you can also as well, if you go onto your profile, your personal profile, so on the bottom, the far right of the screen, just press me, go to your profile. It always has these 5 accounts on the right hand side of the screen that LinkedIn think are your top 5 people that you must somehow know for some bizarre reason. So those are there too. So do check them out and see who LinkedIn are recommending you to. And then again, obviously connect with those people that are of interest to you. Connect with them if you're trying to grow your current network within your field. If you're trying to create a personal brand, that's a really great way to do so. Connect with them if you are looking for potential prospects, or if you're just wanting to get more recognized more on LinkedIn and you want to grow your network, then connect with people of interest to you. And if they connect with you back, then that's fantastic. I would just recommend though, just to LinkedIn do cap the amount of people you can connect with. So don't go spamming it left, right and centre, because you'll be unhappy with that, but do connect with people that are of interest to you and you do want to see on your profile. And my tip is just to check out the accounts that LinkedIn recommend for you to connect with, and don't connect with people that aren't of interest, because it's a tedious task going through and disconnecting with people that you've already previously connected with. So there's my top tips for sending connection requests. I would just note as well that if you are trying to find connections that are clients, just take your time with it. Maybe don't message them directly, bide your time, and also it will just help you grow on your network. And the second factor of growing your LinkedIn network is to join groups. So groups are fantastic on LinkedIn. They're absolutely everywhere. And if you don't know this feature on LinkedIn, it's really fascinating to get involved in some of the groups on there. So a lot of the active groups are business related. If you've ever on Facebook groups, they're definitely different to any other platform. Facebook groups might be crochet or knitting or local community groups. With LinkedIn, it's a lot of business focused groups. So for an example, you're not going to search knitting on LinkedIn. You might not have that same effect, but look for groups within your business. I definitely recommend looking for groups that are either relevant to you. So social media would be mine. If you're a HR consultant or a consultant generally, I know there's a lot of groups based for consultants. There are also a lot of groups that are targeted towards certain industries or certain locations. So if you are your clients or potential clients are SMEs, do type in SMEs and try find all the groups that your clients might be active in, or potential clients. And what you'll do when you find those groups is just simply request to join them. Click on the feature and then just say request to join. You'll get a notification once an admin of that group has accepted your request. And once you've been approved, just check them out, click on that notification and just see what conversations are starting it within them. You might find people are actively asking that community for suggestions or ideas. So someone might be there just waving at you saying, does anybody know a consultant in Sheffield, etc., etc. That's obviously a really good opportunity for consultants to then start a conversation with them and hopefully get some sales out of it. So my top tip with joining groups is search for groups that your clients may have already joined, or groups or industry groups that are based around for you, or you might benefit from joining from a community aspect. And then we're moving on to how to actually find clients. So finding clients is actually a lot easier than you may predict with LinkedIn. So these are the tips to do to find clients actively. So what you want to do is when you head to the LinkedIn search bar and type in any keywords that resemble your client base. So for this example, I've just put HR consultant, pretending I'm trying to find a HR consultant in this case. But this may be a business owner, if again you're targeting the SME market. It can literally be any job title you want. So just put that job title in the search bar here. And then what you want to do is you want to press people. So this is, you'll get it as soon as you type in some keywords, this bar will come up like groups did. So just press people. And once you've pressed people, just under where this annoying box is, it will give you an option to filter your search right down. So this can be filtered by a lot of different specifications, and it truly is, there isn't too much limit to it in terms of if you know what your client base is, if you know what location they are in, etc., then you can filter this search right down so you're really getting the best out of the bunch. So on LinkedIn, just under people, it will say filter, search, or apply filter, and it will give you all of the options on the side here, and there's many more that I could not fit into a screen grab. So you can filter by first, second, or third connection. Simply all that means is first is people you're already connected with, second connections of your current connection base, and third are strangers. Yourself or your current connections are not connected with that person, so filter away with those. You can also filter on location. So if you're looking for a consultant or a client in Sheffield, you can filter by their industry, you can filter by their company name, the school that they went to, and any keywords in their profile that we touched on before. So you can really go to town with that. If you've got all the information in there, there'll be fewer accounts that come up the more detail you put in, but the accounts that do come up are more likely to be exactly your clients. So like I mentioned before, my top tip with this is apply it, use loads of different searches, try different locations, try different keywords, really experiment with it and connect with all the people that come up that are your potential clients. You can even apply this to if you're looking for a job in the future or a candidate, you can filter it to this. But my main tip with this is try not to put a sales pitch out immediately, although they're tempting. It really is low-hanging fruit. But I'm sure that everyone on this call, if you've got LinkedIn, you've had a crazy message from someone as soon as you've connected with them, pitching you a sales pitch from them. And I personally find it quite abrasive. I'm not saying don't do it if that is your tactic, but try just connecting with them and contacting them after a little while once you've got to know maybe their personality. If they're active on LinkedIn and they put a post out that's of interest to you, that might be a starting point to pop up and have a conversation and say, oh, I've just seen this post. That's really interesting. I do X, Y, and Z, and follow it on quite naturally from there. Just because I'd hate for people to go out, find all these connections and sort of ruin it by messaging them quite directly, because some people can find it abrasive. But take a note of the people you've connected with, definitely, and sort of bide your time. And now moving on of how to engage with your community. So this is really important. This is why LinkedIn is here, is to grow your existing network as well as engage with the community you've got already. So I'm going to go through 3 separate sections. The first is to follow hashtags. The second is to share your posts into groups. And the third is to like, comment, share, and participate. So firstly, we'll go on to follow hashtags. So hashtags are a really great use on LinkedIn to tell LinkedIn what certain topics or keywords that you are interested in, either learning more about, finding a conversation about, etc., etc. So LinkedIn, once you follow a certain hashtag, it will push out posts that have got the keyword in, so for example, hashtag recruitment. And and it will push it onto your newsfeed if it thinks that you might be interested in that. So the first thing to do is to actually find them. Again, go to the search bar on the top of LinkedIn, just type in a hashtag and any keyword you'd like to follow. You can also find it in other means on LinkedIn, but that's the easiest. And what you'll be able to do is follow them. You'll be able to get pushed out posts by LinkedIn with these key hashtags in. So when you do see them, just jump on the back of the conversation if it's something you're interested in. You could say hashtag consultant, and there might be a consultant with a really engaging post that might be of help or advice to you. So jump on the back of that and get involved in the conversation. And my top tip with hashtags is try follow work-related hashtags, like with Facebook groups. There aren't too many. So hashtag knitting, I'm sorry, but I don't think it's going to be on LinkedIn. But if you're putting hashtag human resources, that's gold dust. There's going to be a lot of posts with that hashtag in them. So some really good and great value of content will be pushed onto your newsfeed with those industry related hashtags. The second top tip to engage in your existing network is sharing into groups. This is a really good tip once you've got into these groups and admin has accepted your request. Simply share your posts into these groups and engage with that network. So all you have to do is to actually share your post into groups, and feel free as well, can't see you all, but feel free to get it up on your screen and go step by step through this. But start a post. For an example with this, I was sharing this webinar, how to maximize your LinkedIn platform. And I clicked on this anyone button here, what I've circled there. When you press on anyone, it will give you multiple different options to make that a bit nitty gritty and to direct it to a certain conversation. So normally it might be anyone on Twitter or certain members, etc. But one great feature on when you press anyone is it says groups, or groups that you are a member of. If you press groups you are a member of, it will come up with all the groups you have been admitted into or you're active in joining. What you'll be able to do then is, instead of that post going directly on your newsfeed, you can push that into a specific group. This is fantastic because you can really get specific and target people directly. So if you have got a minor sales pitch or something really interesting to SME owners, you could put that post directly into a group that is for SME business owners UK. So that is really getting your product and your advice, or your profile even, in front of your clients, your network, or people of interest to you that you're wanting to grow your network with. So it's really fantastic to get that up there, and just, yeah, go crazy with this little feature because it's really fantastic to start networking within these groups. And what I do find as well from my personal experience is the more I'm putting value into these groups, so if I see a fantastic news piece for SME owners and I push that into an SME group, I have people liking it, engaging with it and connecting with me as a result. It's quite a passive way to do things, but it's a really great way to just organically and without much effort grow your network with the people that you want to. So that's a really great tip that I recommend you doing. And then finally, the best way to get engaged on your LinkedIn platform is to like, comment, share, and just participate on the platform. Like we touched on at the very start with that snowball effect, if I've put a post out and you've decided to like it, not only is my post going to be seen by your connections, but your connections are going to see that you have participated, your profile is going to be more active. It will say Hannah Wheater has liked this post, for an example. So it really pushes your account out and gets you just a little bit more noticed. But not only that, that's a byproduct of sort of the benefits of it, but it helps you engage with your community, the people that you have got networks or relationships with, whether personal or professional. You are investing that time in sustaining and creating a bigger and better relationship with them. And that's a great way to just network really virtually and quite passively, but really effectively through using LinkedIn. Great. So that was the presentation. I'm just going to quickly recap. If you do have any questions on these specific topics, please put it in the Q&A section at the bottom of Zoom. But today I touched on just a brief introduction of how LinkedIn works, how to optimize your LinkedIn profile, how to grow your network, how to find clients, and how to engage with your network and community. So we are going to now, I'll click the screen, go to a Q&A session. So if you do have any questions at all, please do feel free to put it in the Q&A section below.
Great, thank you very much, Hannah. Yes, so as Hannah's mentioned, we've obviously got time for some Q&A right now. Please don't be shy, feel free to ask any questions that you would like to ask of her. I guess perhaps whilst we're waiting for that, Hannah, have you got some examples of some good LinkedIn profiles? Obviously, you've talked a lot about like the different components within that, but also some not so great LinkedIn profiles that you might want to share.
Yeah, definitely. I think I've stumbled across being so active on LinkedIn. It's part of my daily role. Some LinkedIn accounts that haven't got the right information in. They might connect with me and just don't have any description of it. So as a result, I'm sorry to people that I might have offended, but I'm not going to accept that request because I'm not too sure of their information or where they're coming from. I think, like I mentioned, with that really abrasive sales pitch, sometimes you need to bide your time with it. Some people I've connected with just thinking they're of common interest to me and then targeting me with some sales pitch that I don't necessarily want to respond to. So those would be my top tips of how to not go about networking on LinkedIn.
Oh, okay, we've got a question from Eloise. It's quite a good one actually, because we've got quite a lot of info overload. So like, what types of posts are good to pin on the featured section of your profile?
Sorry, I was just having a sip of water. The post to pin on your feature section of your profile, it depends on what you do. I think that you can either pin a post that's got a really high amount of engagement. So it displays when I go onto your profile that you've got a good network, a good existing network. You can also pin maybe a credential that someone's given about you. They might have taken a screenshot of you and put it on, tagged you in it and said, this was a really great session with Marie. Marie, you might pin that and it's just a sort of like a testimonial. And you could also pin as well if you have a little bit of a soft sales pitch or a message you want to get across directly to someone that is visiting your LinkedIn profile. It could say, I'm Marie, I'm a partnership manager. I, do X, Y, and Z. To get in touch with me, contact me via email. Those would be the types of content I would personally pin on my LinkedIn profile.
Yeah, and I guess also you could probably change that about, like, if you've got specific campaigns that you're doing or something, for a specific time period, like you could change, it's like changing bio links, isn't it? Like,
yeah,
for that period.
Yeah, definitely. You can just pin it. And if you don't want to pin it at the top of your feed, you can simply unpin it or pin something else. You're right.
Cool, great. Any other questions? Just wait a little while for that. Like, it is quite hard, isn't it? Because I know that when you've just got so much social media out there that you're trying to think about ways also to stand out a little bit as well on there. I've got another question here. What's the best approach? Yes, actually. What's the best approach by asking for recommendations from old colleagues or managers? I guess we always feel a bit awkward asking for someone the question, but how would you best suggest we go and do that?
I've done this quite a lot personally, and I've completely, whoever's wrote this, have had the same sort of fear. I've asked about 20 of my previous clients when I moved roles to my HR toolkit, and I just said a quite honest reaction. I said, I'm moving, I'm new to a career, I'm trying to get a bit of credentials and credibility about me, I would really appreciate it if you could give me a recommendation or endorse my skills. So a bit of a tip on here: if you ask someone to endorse your skills, what LinkedIn do is, if I went onto Marie's profile, I endorsed 5 skills or so, LinkedIn automatically put up a little message from time to time saying, would you like to leave a recommendation? And what you can also do as well is, if I just get on my LinkedIn, you can request a recommendation from someone. So what I did in my past role is it gives you a link to send to someone directly. But all I did is, that's it. If you go onto my profile, for an example, and you will be able to see on someone else's profile that's not your own, 3 dots right next to connection or deconnect with them. You'll see 3 dots, and it will give you an option to request kudos or request recommendation, it's called. So it'll give you a link directly there to for them to click, fill out, and that'll go onto your profile if you accept it. So simply just put something quite automated and generic saying, I'd really appreciate it if you did X, Y, and Z. Here's a link if you can take 2 minutes. And just do make sure as well, if they do give you a recommendation, just say thank you. If you haven't endorsed their skills, make sure to endorse some skills or give them a recommendation back. So that would be my top tips with gaining recommendations from colleagues.
Yeah, and I guess as a follow-up question, it's like, is it good to give them a recommendation first and then ask for one back? I mean, I guess in normal life, and I do this with other things, it's kind of like, yeah, well, I'm imagining like if you do the favor, most people will be like, actually, I suppose I'll do it back. But do you tend to do that quite a bit where you offer out a recommendation and said, actually, do you mind if you?
I've personally not. I think you can. It is a little bit. It's a bit tongue in cheek. I think I'd find it depends what relationship you've got with them. If it's a colleague or a previous colleague, you can definitely do so. I found as well, I had a meeting with a digital consultant ages ago. He said when he was first starting out doing LinkedIn networking, he'd just go on to strangers or people he's connected with accounts and endorse their skills. And, maybe 1 out of 10 people that you endorse skills will say, oh, that's really kind, I'll go on and return a favour. That typical British politeness is going to be to, make a social gesture back. So if you want to get more endorsements, you can do that. But again, it's not your colleagues or the best people to give you recommendations back.
Okay, and in terms of engagement, so again, it's like there's a lot of stuff that goes on in social media, and it sometimes gets lost in like with the trees a little bit. But in terms of engagement on the types of posts, what types of posts do you find work really well on LinkedIn?
Okay, so LinkedIn is definitely different to any other social media platform because it's so professionally focused. But as a result of that, I personally find that the posts that work really well on LinkedIn are actually people posts. There are a lot of posts on LinkedIn that are sales focused. You might be discussing or trying to get on clients, trying to network. There's a bit of maybe like a people doing it for their own benefit. But I think that posts that really work well are the posts that involve people. So if you definitely a consultant that your personality is the feature of your, like a USP of your business, get something out of a bit of personality. I've had clients in my previous role that this was their worst fear is getting in front of a camera, taking a selfie. The worst thing that people can say is no, and 99% of the time people are going to be so much more likely to engage with that post because it's actually about you. It's not about a company, it's about your personality. Those are the posts that really engage well. As well as that, if taking photos of yourself or videos of yourself is a big no-no, I'd recommend doing quotations, featuring clients. That's a really great way to sort of promote your client and also talk about sort of a culture that's not about you. I'd also recommend posting videos if you can. Videos are really great engagement on all platforms. And use the LinkedIn story feature. It's a really great way to promote your business a little bit more organically.
Yeah, we've started doing quite a lot of, you might have seen for those of you who follow us on LinkedIn, that we started doing quite a lot of teamly events as well. So they're still business related, like work related, but it's kind of, I guess, getting a bit of an insight. And some of the ones that stand out to me, at least when I go on LinkedIn, is the ones where they've got like stuff going on at home related to work, but again, it's a bit about them.
Definitely. I think there's a fine line on LinkedIn of, you know, maybe saying what your social plans are for the weekend, but you're right, it's that sort of the personalities behind a business really is a talking point on LinkedIn.
Oh, great. Any other questions for Hannah? Give it a couple of seconds whilst I wait for the to see whether there's any other questions. Just a reminder, I have put a link into the chat for our next webinar, which is Camille is doing it on how to run engaging webinars. So we did that very early on in the year. So if you missed that, or if you know people who might be interested, if your clients who might be interested in that, please feel free to send on the link to them. That is on the 12th of May, yep. I believe. So please do feel free to register for that. I will just double check. No, I think, Hannah, you have answered all the questions. We will obviously be sending out a recording and a follow-up to this webinar. So if you did miss anything or had to duck out for anything, or if you have any other questions, please feel free to get in contact with us and I can pass them on to Hannah and we can answer that.
Or just message me on LinkedIn as well if there's anything LinkedIn related.
Yes,
that's absolutely fine. Cool,
great. Thank you very much again, Hannah, for your time. Thank you for everyone for joining this afternoon. Oh, wait 1 second. Oh, it's just a message to say thank you. I thought it was a question. I was like, oh, question answers. But yes, anyway, so hopefully we will see you at the next webinar. Otherwise, enjoy the rest of your afternoon.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Enjoy,
you.
everyone. Bye.